So, Summer Game Fest brought along with it a new look at Vondel, and at the same time, a few announcements of some other items coming in Season 4, as well as a new tact map guide for the upcoming map next week. So today, we're breaking it all down. As we go along, drop your thoughts down below. Are you looking forward to the new map? What are your thoughts on what was shown off so far? What do you think of the teased collab coming in Season 4? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts down below. But if you enjoyed the video, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone, and DMZ ahead of Season 4 here. We've got a lot upcoming, so if you guys would like to join the community, I'd love to have you. And finally, check out Gamer Advantage for the best blue light glasses on the market, but more on them a little later. For now, let's jump into Season 4's edition of Vondel. So firstly, the trailer you'll be seeing in the background is what was debuted today at Summer Games Fest, showing off about a minute of gameplay and all. The original trailer, pretty solid. I mean, COD trailers always are good. Some really good audio sync stuff in there if you are at all interested in that. I know that's one of the things that I'm a sucker for, audio stuff, so that always gets me going. But for the sake of not getting the video copyrighted, I'll leave the link to the original down below if you guys want to see the unedited version without this commentary over top of it. But minus a few audio, dialogue, callouts, the visuals, the important stuff. So quick breakdown, we get a brief look at some cosmetics and items coming likely in the battle pass based off what we saw in yesterday's reveal. But then in terms of the map, we see sequential fly-throughs of what appears to be the market area, the windmill near and flying through the stadium, some rooftop battles, a battle at what I can only imagine is a castle POI, assuming that it's the only part that looks like a castle, some focus on the canals and the fly-throughs and that new TAV hybrid vehicle, a bit of the graveyard POI, the zoo, central station, and some sequences of what I'd guess is a top-down view of the TAC map is the mall POI. But basically a quick run through of a lot of the main points of interest, a lot of the areas around the map, and what we're all getting, right? That's what a trailer should do. Now, initially, I kind of thought that was all that we would be expecting for today's reveal, given the big stuff was shown off as of yesterday, and we got the DMZ content coming tomorrow, what's being reset, the new features being introduced, all that expanded upon in a dedicated DMZ blog that's been stated as of tomorrow, and the publication there. But today we also got a TAC map guide on where we saw the full TAC map of Vondel revealed, plus a deeper look at the POIs we'll be able to play here. So let's jump into that. First, from a top-down perspective, the Vondel TAC map. We end up seeing here that it's a very, I don't want to say water-based, but there's a lot of water around it. You still have, of course, more land than water, but it is something you're going to see those sort of canals separating each individual location point of interest. There's a whole lot of broken up area rather than all one landmass with like a river or two going through it. Instead, we are going to have to navigate how this does indeed work, but it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. But anyways, we have the points of interest of from the north to south: Castle, University, City Hall, Graveyard, the unmarked point of interest of the Souvenir District, the Mall, Central Station, Market, Courtyard, Police Station, Fire Department, Museum, the Kunstenaar District, that actually being part of the 6v6 offering here whenever we end up getting into Season 4, the Floating District, Zoo, Stadium, Exhibit, and Cruise Terminal. So a lot of points of interest here, some named, some unnamed, but looks to be, again, a decently sized map by comparison. We do know that this is going to be somewhere larger than Ashika Island, smaller than Al Mazrah and what we see here, the big map BR, but we are going to see that with Resurgence, a new game mode called Lockdown, and then also sometime later in the season, not specified, it does say that we'll have regular Battle Royale alongside all of that. So some cool stuff here to see how that all plays out. Curious what the player count will be, how the flow feels, but for right now, that's what we end up learning about the TAC map from a top-down level. Now, going a little deeper, we ended up getting, again, a little bit of a guide on each of the points of interest, but there's a lot that really is just, there's not a whole ton known for every single part. So we'll go over the ones here that I think are the most important that you should know of. Starting with Castle, that's something that is said to be a complex interior with several bedrooms, chambers, living spaces, and hallways connected by passageways, a crypt, and at least one water access point. The fortification is technically the tallest structure in Vondel, though it might not offer the most prominent of sightlines. On the grounds of the castle, there seems to be a crypt, as well as a farm, pavilion, some gardens, and a chapel, with noted to be several UAV towers at the location, making it one of the more exposed areas for recon tech in Vondel. Beyond that, we have the university, which is the main structure. It's said to be 3 stories, so curious to see how that plays out with verticality, because it also mentions the primary entrance leads to a reception area with an atrium with an open concept and staircases leading up and down floors. So seems like you might have some fights looking up or down by a few stories here at that. Though it is mentioned that there are a few ascenders here to make this a bit more easy to traverse. And there's also a university village on the outside here with a little bit of cover and everything that goes along with that. Though they did state beyond this, seemingly just for DMZ, there are 2 enemy strongholds in the region, one in the university and the other in the village, both heavily occupied by elite soldiers. And there's possibly a dead drop location location there as well. Now, beyond that, we have City Hall, where there is no shortage of areas to sweep through to find enemy opposition. The building's rooftop will serve as a handy vantage point, and operators can access that through Ascender or by balconies to get to the rooftop. It's said that this point of interest will have a lot of close quarters combat within the town hall, but most mid-range combat possible through the exterior of the building through windows. And also another UAV tower is there in the mix. Now, the central station looks to be pretty interesting here at this. There's not really a whole ton detailed in regards to specifics on what to expect for gameplay, but based off the imagery, it looks like there will be some close quarters, but more so medium range engagements here, with the actual train tracks themselves being rather wide open. So you might want to take a rifle here or something like that. The mall is said to take up 2 whole city blocks. The Cardinal Shopping Center consisting of an older structure sprawling the outdoor market and abandoned shops, and it's got an open nature where aerial combat may be most effective in removing enemy squads or other hostile forces. So maybe from the rooftops here of that, or perhaps in a helicopter if you end up having the ability to just kind of hover around. The police station here is a 5-story structure with 2 ascenders inside on the ground floor, consisting of the reception area and hallways, but to move up they can use the stairs, ladders, or again an interior ascender in the elevator shaft. It said the rooftop offers vantage points over the mall, market, museum, stadium, and adjacent townhomes to the west, so it's a pretty decent power position here with that. And if it's a police station, if it's anything like Al Mazrah, it should be heavily fortified with a bunch of good loot that you can end up going into and picking up. So that'll be something that maybe it's a hot drop here, maybe it's something you want to try out and might be heavily contested, so just bear that in mind. The floating district was detailed, and this is actually one thing that we can see that mid-season map coming from as well. So that's going to be something that is from the southwestern portion of Vondel, and the Kunstenaar district being something that's a little bit more southeast of that. So interesting to see how this will play out in regards to now we know where this is, but basically just detailing that it is something that has a lot of water, does have those close quarters gunfights, but it is something that does have a lot of open area as well. So be conscious of that. The zoo by area looks to be one of the biggest, if not the biggest point of interest behind probably just Castle, if I were to guess, just based off that TAC map. But it's stated to have a lot of open area, but also some buildings with 2-story structures. They can offer nice vantage points, a parking lot that might not necessarily be so much of a position you want to be stuck in, but it is something that you have a lot to explore with all of that. The stadium was detailed here, where it's roughly symmetrical setting with adequate cover on either side of the pentagonal center. Not really a whole ton is detailed about the sort of loot density here that you can expect to find, but curious to see if there'll be any sort of like high risk, high reward stuff for landing in the center there, because, well, you're in the wide open beyond that paintball course here that is there. Kind of similar to Speedball, to Rush from Black Ops 2, but curious to see what comes of that. The museum being a seemingly sprawling building and area to traverse with what seems like not only just interior base floors and upper rooms, but also some waterway canals and everything that go even through it. So curious to see how this will play out in regards to map flow, and if it's something that you start to see too many fights be tightly packed into that, where there's so much verticality that players get stuck above and below each other, not even realizing it. Exhibit is the second more modern museum in the southeastern, but while being open, it does have some lanes that are great for CQB weaponry and engagement, so just beware of that as well. But that's the overall basic rundown of Vondel and the points of interest we've seen so far, already debuted here, and again, this TAC map overview and also the TAC map itself. Now, beyond that, I want to touch on my overall thoughts here at this. The design elements here of this, firstly, I really like the, at least atmosphere here of what we see with Vondel. Again, with how much water there is, I don't know quite just yet if I'll enjoy the rotations through water all of the time. I don't know with how much verticality, if it's something that becomes a detriment, if it's going to be too tightly packed in some condensed locations and everything like that. There's a lot of variables that until we get actual gameplay, I can't really expand upon. But what I can say is that at least initially, the atmosphere of this, it looks like a beautiful map in regards to design. I love the fact that it's a lot more bright, more vibrant and everything like that. Makes it a lot harder for players to sit and camp in corners, those dark corners that you quite can't see. You don't have those Rose situations where they were just camping in the dark shadows of Superstore and Verdansk. You don't have that kind of stuff so much, or at least initially it doesn't seem like we will. Additionally, the points of interest seem pretty varied, and if it's something that design-wise they end up taking like unique elements and adding sort of certain things to each location, it'll make landing at each location a little bit more of a risk and reward type of thing that will make them all feel unique and add to that gameplay experience. Mix that in with a couple of things we can see coming within Season 4. I'm excited to see how it plays out. I'm honestly really excited to see the return of those personal or favorite supply boxes, where it's basically just your loadout weapons, your loadout without your perks and equipment. I'm excited to see that come back, see how rare those are in Vondel. I'm excited to see what the player count may be and how it ends up playing in terms of pacing, but overall, I'm intrigued for sure. Definitely, it is something that we have to bear in mind. It's still Warzone or Warzone 2, no matter how much they want to try and disassociate from that 2.0 that they set up. I mean, the base of the game is still going to be the base of the game, but I'm very very curious to see if I enjoy this one more than Ashika, Al-Mazrah, all that kind of stuff. But the final thing that I want to leave off on in this video is a strange but interesting addition here to that trailer that we ended up seeing, because we ended up getting a promo for a crossover with The Boys. Seen in the final frames of the trailer, The Boys was spray painted on the building as the vehicle was jumping off it. Now, for those unaware, that's an Amazon Prime original show. The relationship with Amazon is already there through Prime drops they've seen in the past, and Twitch drops currently enabled for CDL events, but a collab with perhaps one of the biggest originals they have, maybe the biggest. I'm honestly beyond The Boys, not too familiar with Amazon's streaming library, so I could be wrong on that one. The Boys, though, definitely worth a watch, though, if you like some brutal storytelling and superhero arcs, but with the impending 4th season coming at some point, might be one of those things that it gets announced and in partnership, COD has that collaboration on lock. I mean, it's been nearly a year since the season 3 finale, and there's no current season 4 launch date, but production, I believe, wrapped at the beginning of the year, so it could be something that's here in the next few months, perhaps in season 4. But one thing that I think is a curious tie-in with The Boys is we saw prominently there was curiously an insanely redacted operator coming in season 4 revealed in yesterday's blog post. That to the point the operator image isn't even there, but his name is Butch. Now, what are the odds that of The Boys with a crossover, one of the main characters of the show is Billy Butcher? Just some food for thought there. Obviously, some other great options would be the meme and GIF King Homelander, but we'll have to see how that all pans out. Either way, a crossover is confirmed by the appropriate official socials for each party, so we'll see how that all goes down. But anyways, that's what we learned here today. A new trailer, a new blog post, and also a tease for an upcoming crossover event in season 4. So that's what we're gonna call it. Before we wrap everything up, make sure to check out my friends over at Gamer Advantage for the best blue light glasses on the market. Most comfortable, lightweight, durable frames on the market, clinically proven, all that good stuff. You guys know the pitch already, so don't need to spend too much time on it. But if you guys are interested in learning more, link in the description below to where you can check out the clinical studies, the science behind all of it, or if you want to pick up something for yourself, code Espresso, get you 10% off your entire order. But for now, that's what we're going to call it. Let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think of Vondel so far? What do you think of Season 4's offering so far? What are the case? Feel free to let me know. But if you enjoyed the video, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to stay updated with all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone, and anything COD related ahead of Season 4 and beyond. Love to have you in the community, but for now, thanks so much for watching. My name has been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care, and peace.